Hi, Katie Jones.
Hi, Ryan Durgy. What are you
Uh,
doing?
well, I'm just you're kind of cutting into my bedtime. It's not that late, but now we'll get into it. But now
All
I'm
right,
working
because you
some
have to wake up in the middle of the night.
I have to wake up quite early, so but that's okay. You know what? I'm doing it for you and I'm excited to have us back together for a quick update episode. Well, I
I
don't know if
know.
it'll be
I'm
quick,
so
but
excited about this.
yeah, and let me just say that you literally just called me out because you said I'm wearing a face mask so I can't go on video. And I said, "Oh, I thought you were at home." And you said, "Well, of course I'm at home. That's why I'm putting on a face mask, dum dum." Katie Jones, we're in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. Maybe not in the middle, but we're in the pandemic. I thought you meant like a mask, like covering your mouth and your nose and that
Oh
kind of
yeah,
mask.
I'm just sitting at my house before I was on my porch with just a face mask on. Like, what do you think? I'm the weirdo that drives with a face mask on?
I've done that before,
Oh,
but
oh my God, I don't under it's like the people that wear a condom when they're sleeping, like it's not gonna do anything.
is that a thing?
That's like a thing. Like you'll see people that are walking. Okay, I don't obviously live in Toronto, so when I'm walking on like the sidewalk, I'm not gonna pass people. So maybe you wear a mask when you're like walking in downtown Toronto because you're gonna bump into people, I guess. But like there'll be people in the country town just like walking down the road all by themselves, no one else in sight with a mask on. It's like what are you protecting?
Katie Jones, I wanted to do this episode because I know that you're quite busy right now, which you're going to explain why and why you left us a little bit at Is This Adulthood? I mean, you're always here in spirit and we love you, but I just want you to explain what's going on in your life and then I want to explain what's going on in my life and give the listeners some updates because the way that this schedule has worked is you and I haven't recorded I think together since May because the way that the episodes were planned out, that's just how it worked. And then I did a couple episodes on my own with guests. So this is the first time you and I have actually recorded an episode in like 3 months.
I know. Well, I'm pregnant.
Are you? Stop.
No,
Are you though?
no, gosh, no. I'm drinking a Pinot Grigio as we speak.
Okay, so good thing that you're not pregnant.
Yeah, no, I'm not pregnant. To all of the listeners, I miss all of you guys. Brian completely deleted me off the podcast. I'm no longer in the photo.
Hey,
It's
but the-
just is. It's like, where did my pretty face go?
I mean, it's true, but like you
Like,
had
way to make things official. Like,
Katie,
oh, Ryan, I'm too busy. Okay, delete.
Katie, it's just so that people aren't confused because if they're seeing me and you and the faces of the show, but you haven't been on an episode in like 4 episodes or whatever, then people are gonna get confused. They're gonna be like, "Who's this
Well,
other
good thing
girl?"
that you deleted me. No one can be confused now.
Stop!
um, okay, what am I doing? So, all of
You
our
crack
listeners
me
know,
up.
or if you're new to this, I work in film and television,
Which is, by the
and
way, amazing. By the
yeah,
way,
it is
you had
amazing.
talked about on the podcast, and I want you to explain your story. I just want to give a little bit of I want to give some credit here because you're gonna talk about this and you're gonna do it in like 5 minutes, and then that will be it. But I think you've got to like I would love for you to talk longer. I'm just saying I think you've got to give yourself
Would
some
you?
major
Because you don't
credit
even
here.
want my face associated anymore.
Stop. No, but like you have been talking on this podcast about wanting to do a creative role and work in a creative industry and all of that for like over a year. And finally, you got to work on a TV set. You've got to learn even more leadership skills and work with a creative team, and you love your team. I don't know. I just think that that's amazing, and you got to give yourself some major props for this. So I just want to add that in there.
Thank you. Those are very kind words. Yeah, so I work in film and TV. I won't say the production company I work with just because, whatever. But I was with them for about 2.5, almost 3 months. And then the the pandemic hit, and just like everything else, we were shut down, and I was not working from home just based on my position. I didn't really have stuff to do from home, but I stayed in contact with my company and with my department. Um, my department is the art department. So basically, anything that involves like set decorations or props is what I'm responsible for. I work with some badass women. The art department is all women at this production company, which I love. And so, yeah, anytime you're watching a movie or a TV show, anything from the carpet on the floor to the lamps to the glass they're holding to X, Y, Z is us. So it's a very intense physical job. I love it so much. So I have been back now for, I guess, going on like 2.5, 3 months, which is great. But because of COVID, we are working, not working, working, not working. There's obviously a lot of different players that you have to consider in terms of being tested and making sure everyone involved is safe, because for a while there you're supposed to, well, I mean, we're still supposed to social distance and have limited people, but obviously making a TV show or a movie, you have lighting, you have a director, you have camera, you have a million pieces that make up the puzzle. So because of that, we are limited in how much we can produce and the people that we can have, basically, for lack of better terms. So currently I am not working, but I was working last week and I will be working next week. It's just kind of a roll the dice and kind of go with it right now. But yeah, I love my job. It is fantastic. I love being on set. It's incredibly challenging in all of the best ways. So for that, I'm very grateful, because to anyone that's been listening to this podcast for maybe even since we started, I was in hospitality for a long time, loved my job, knew it wasn't a forever career. So yeah, like things are great. I just wrapped up a movie that will be, I guess, premiering around Christmas time. I won't say the
Wow.
name, but if you are still with us around Christmas, will do another episode. Well, we'll do more between now and then, but yeah, so life is good. I finally painted my kitchen. I was pulling the green tape off today, and it was sticking so much to the walls, like it wasn't pulling off beautifully. And that's because it's been taped for like a month and a half, because I'm a witch. But
Wait,
yeah,
why?
yeah. So my kitchen's painted. My bathroom is going to start being under renovation by a contractor in the next couple weeks, hopefully. Jeff and I have bought everything for it. And yeah, I think that's it. My boyfriend and I are going to be celebrating our 2 years in
Wow.
November. And when we
Wow.
started the podcast, he was like a beginning thought. So
That's crazy.
yeah.
It's
How
true.
how about you? Like, you're a producer in Ottawa. When did that happen?
Okay, wait,
Can
before
I
we jump to
swear?
me,
I'll stop swearing.
before we get into that though, I want you to let listeners know, why have you left us?
Well, it's not that I wanted to, although Ryan was clearly happy because he just erased
No.
me for anything. No,
I was not happy.
the honestly, the main reason is that when I'm in pre-production for a movie or a TV show, depending on what we're working on, I work normal hours, like 9 to 5, 10 to 6, whatever. They're pretty normal. But when I'm filming, they are 12 to 15-hour days, and I'm grateful that my production company is based out of Newmarket, which is quite close to where I live. So we often do record in and around where I'm living currently, but we sometimes don't. So when you account for me getting ready in the morning, because I'm not someone that just like rolls out of bed and goes to work, I need like a solid hour and a half to myself because I have OCD. plus the commuting time, plus the 12 to 15-hour days, plus the commute home. I'm sometimes looking at like a 17, 18-hour day. And when we're filming, that's 5 days a week for about 3 weeks. So I don't really have a lot of time to do this. And as Ryan knows, when we do podcasts that aren't just us like having banter, I like to do my research, my homework, and I felt
Hmm.
like I wasn't going to be able to do that. So instead of it being a frustrating up and down situation, I thought Ryan's the better one in this dynamic, anyways. You go, you
Stop.
spread your little baby wings, and when I can come on as an update, like we're doing right now, or as a co host one day, and I'm free, then I'm so happy to do that. But at the same time, I'm too busy to pretend like I can fit it in my schedule right now when I can't. And I don't want to ever be a waste on anyone's time, especially yours, Ryan. So for now, I'm just your girl, Katie, that's popping in every once in a while, I guess. But I do miss it. I miss it very much. But can we talk about the potential co host?
Okay, yeah, let's do that. But I also want to just touch on that for a minute. Obviously, we missed you on the podcast, and it was like a hard, discussion that you and I had, because it was like, okay, Katie, can you commit this amount of time per month? Because we're doing bi-weekly, we're releasing at least 2 episodes a month, and can we commit to this? And it was like, okay, well, with my new job, these are the hours, and with your new job, these are the hours. And I think as we just started to realize like our hours weren't matching up, it's like, when would we be able to record together? And like, you obviously want, some weekend time off, because that's your only time off, right? So like, I think we came to a good decision, and I'm glad that you were so mature with it, because I know how much you enjoy doing this, and I know how much I enjoy doing it, whether it's the interviewing part or even like the editing is fun too. And so I'm glad that you weren't like, you know what, shut it down until I'm ready to come back on. You were like, you know what, Ryan, find another co-host, or have guests on, or have guests on and have me on. And you were just, I appreciate that. You were really mature. It's exactly what you said. You were like, spread your wings, and I appreciate that. So thank
Oh,
you.
you're gonna make me emotional.
Oh no, I really appreciate you. And our dynamic is unbeatable, and you always make me laugh. Like, I never laugh that way with like most people. You're just like, you crack me up. So, but yeah, so Taylor Blixt, who has been on a recent episode talking about men's mental health, and is on an upcoming episode talking about self-love, which is coming out 2 weeks from today. We've been recording the podcast, and you know we've been trying to do some video content too, like recording the podcast, and I think people have really enjoyed that. And he's been sharing it with his friends, and we've gotten a lot of really great feedback about the dynamic. And so I mentioned to Katie, I'm like, hey, I've been thinking about maybe asking Taylor to continue to co-host with me. And I asked Katie what she thought, and basically one of her first things was, he has a great smile.
He has the
he
most amazing smile.
he does have such a great smile. And then you're like, not that that matters, but like, your dynamic is really great too. So Katie, I have your blessing to let Taylor Blix come on and continue to co-host with me?
Yeah. No, yes, you do. As much as I have currently taken a back seat, I will always feel like it is Ryan and Katie against the world when it comes to our broadcast like endeavors
Oh
together,
yeah.
and whether they're career wise or just as a hobby.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, of course I do. I have met him. We went out for drinks and dinner on your birthday.
I
Last,
forgot
was it
that.
last year?
It was
Was it
two
last year?
year. It would have been
2 years
20.
ago.
Yeah, it would have been 2019. It would have been
Yeah, when we went to
2019.
the place and they were sold out of your cheesy garlic sticks or something. Um,
Yeah.
so I have met him, and he's a very charismatic person, which I think is so important in terms of the broadcast world, the podcast world, because it's yeah, we're going into a COVID time, so a lot of people are doing video podcasts, which is great, like you guys have done together. But again, I think it's so reliant on your voice and your charisma and your opinions and your attention to detail through just, your own voice. And I think he does a really good job at that. So I wish you all the best. But bitch, if I want to come back, you better
Yes.
be ready for that.
Oh, of course. You're always welcome back. And there's no Taylor's amazing, but I mean, you're our dynamic. Like, I mean, you can't even
You
bottle that
can't
up.
even.
You can't.
And
I'm
you know what?
sorry. And Taylor's amazing, and I love our dynamic too. I'm just saying, like, you and I'm sure many people would love to bottle it up. They can't.
No, they can't. And just like quickly reiterating, I feel like this is the best decision for this podcast, for you, for me, in the sense of my schedule is so hard to work with. I mean, I'm up at 5:30 when I'm filming and I'm home at 8. And then
Yeah.
I just want to have a glass of wine and be with my boyfriend. I don't really want to do anything other than that. And I knew it was going to be unfair for it to be like a weekly kind of back and forth thing. You are amazing, Ryan. You are the fuel behind this podcast. I'm sure everybody knows you don't. Ryan does all of the editing. I basically just show up and don't shut up. And Ryan does everything else after that. So you are the driving force behind this podcast. And you deserve any co host that makes you feel confident and happy and excited. And so, yeah, I wish you guys the best. I mean, he's got some big shoes to fill, but uh, shout out, I think it's going to be a really good thing. And when you want to have me on, I am
Yeah.
more than happy to, just a lot of nonsense.
Okay, so you'll make some room in your schedule.
Yes, I will. I definitely
Okay.
will. I have to because this means so much to me. So just like anyone around our age that they're trying to make it in it's their main focus, just like your friend Harris that we had, who's the real estate agent. I mean, he was talking about prioritizing his friends and his family and everything. He's trying to make himself as a real estate agent. And unfortunately, a lot of other important things in your life can take a back seat, whether you're okay with it or when you're just trying to make it. And I didn't actually go to film school, although I did study journalism and broadcasting. So it's under the umbrella, but I didn't go to film school. So I have to prove myself that much more. And because of that, it is my main focus. So this podcast does not deserve to have a co host that's not giving it 100%. And I can't. So with that, I pass the torch.
Aw. Well, Katie, it's funny that you say that you get home at like 7 or 8. Sorry, you said you get home around 8. I go to bed before that point now with my new schedule. So it just proves more and
Yes,
more that
let's
our
talk about
schedules
your
would not work
job.
out.
Let's talk about your job.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. So over the last 4 months since March, when I was laid off from my communications job with the travel company, which was a really great experience. I had an awesome team, but of course, travel was affected deeply by the COVID-19 pandemic. So I'm not sure if I've talked about that on the
Like Jack,
podcast or not.
nobody travels, so it
A lot
was
of
fucked.
people aren't traveling right now, right? So that industry, it's tough out there for anyone working in it. And it was a cool company, cool team, cool office. I was working downtown Toronto every day or every weekday. And yeah, it was a cool experience, but I got laid off. So I had to decide what was next. So over the 4 months, I applied to 40 jobs. Out of those 40, and I'm just giving context because there may be people that have applied to less. There could be people that have applied to more for more. I'm just giving context because I feel like people see that you get a new job and they're like, oh, wow, like I haven't got a new job and I've only got 2 interviews out of, X amount of places I've applied to. Well, I'm giving context so that you know that I was turned down many times before I got my current job. I got 4 interviews out of those 40 applications that I had sent out. Those 40 applications spanned across, Canada. I was applying to a bunch of jobs in BC. And in fact, at one point, as Katie knows, I was planning to move out to BC before my current opportunity came
Yeah,
along.
you were.
And I had applied to jobs up there and they just kept falling through. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to Vancouver anyways. So I started looking into a place, and I had an amazing landlord that I've been talking to when I was, interviewing for a job. That job didn't work out. The other jobs in BC didn't work out. And I still was like, I'm going to get this place. And it was a great place. And it was down to me and another person. And the night before I was going to FaceTime with the landlord, I was thinking, this isn't right for me to sign a 12-month lease when I don't even have a job. If I don't have a job by October, this would have been in like, I think June or July, maybe June, end of May into June. And if I didn't have a job by October, then I may have to break this lease, and that's not fair to my landlord, right? And so I was tossing and turning. I literally, Katie, got only like an hour of sleep that night. I could not.
Oh, I can
I was
imagine.
I was just like trying to figure it out, and I felt bad because this lady was so nice. So
Hold
we
up,
got on.
while you keep telling your story, I'm just gonna pour myself some wine.
Oh,
Continue.
okay. Okay. So I got on the FaceTime the next morning, and before I could even say anything, the landlord said, Ryan, this was a tough decision. I really like you, but I had to go with the business decision, and I decided to choose the other person looking to lease my place that has a full-time job offer or
What a
full-time
dumb
job.
dumb.
No, no, no. She was great. I was going to tell her the same thing. That's the thing with this story, is that I was going to tell her the same thing because it didn't feel right that I'd sign a 12-month lease with her, not knowing whether I was going to get a job for sure or not in Vancouver, right? So I was like, you know what? I totally agree. And that was it. And we've stayed in touch, right? Because she's just a cool lady. Then I was looking into getting an Airbnb in Vancouver and just renting for a month or two and applying to jobs. I got my oil changed in my car because I knew I was going to be driving to Vancouver, like, 4,000 kilometers or whatever. I had a friend, Ivana, who designed our logo for our podcast when we first started the
Shout out to you,
podcast.
babe. Love you.
Ivana, she's been on the podcast twice, and Katie loves her. And
Love her so much. She's the best.
she's amazing. And so she was going to come out there with me and then fly back home. She was literally coming for the road trip and to support me in my move. So I told her that I was planning to go. We were excited. We were planning different stops along the way. I made an itinerary. And then that night, which was the next night after the whole landlord thing, all these Airbnbs that I was applying to started falling through. They just weren't working out. And I tossed and turned and I thought about it. And I texted Ivana, I think late night. And I was like, hey, I'm getting cold feet. Ivana was like, you know what? Do whatever decision's best for you. I'm not going to hold it against you. This is all about you and what you want to do. Super supportive, even though she was excited to do the road trip. So I slept on it and I woke up in the morning. Well, actually that night I was already kind of decided, but I slept on it still. And I decided that it wasn't the right decision to go to Vancouver because it didn't feel right. It felt like I was forcing fate. And sometimes when you force fate, I find that it blows up in your face, because you're forcing it. You're not letting it happen naturally, right? So I decided not to go to Vancouver. Then within 2 or 3 weeks from that point, I got offered this job in Ottawa, which is working as a producer for a television show. It's an amazing opportunity. It's an amazing team. It's in Ottawa, Canada. And so my plan already was to move out by the fall because, I've never really lived in my own place. I've lived at university in the dorms, but other than that, I've lived with family my whole life. So I knew that in the fall, at 28 years old, I wanted to, by the fall, have my own place, right? One bedroom or studio, whatever that may be. So I got this job in Ottawa, which meant I had to move out of Toronto. And the job was an amazing opportunity, great team. So I accepted it. And I literally had 3 weeks from that date to before I started. I'm pretty sure it's 3 weeks. Yeah. Because I asked for an extension till August 10th and they ended up giving it to me, which was amazing. But yeah, I had 3 weeks from that date to move my entire life from Toronto to Ottawa and get settled in and then start a new job. And here we are. I'm in Ottawa. I have a 1-bedroom place. I love my place. Katie, you're going to have to visit. I
I can't
absolutely
wait.
I absolutely love my neighborhood. I'm like a 30-minute walk from the beach. I didn't even know that there are beaches in Ottawa. I'm sorry for anyone from Ottawa out there. I just didn't know. And I love Ottawa. Everyone's so nice. Everyone's so chill. I have my own place. I have this awesome job, awesome team. And it just goes to show you that everything happens for a reason, in my opinion. Sometimes we don't know what that reason is. Sometimes it's a really crappy thing that may happen, like not in this situation, but in life, you may be like, what is the reason for this? And maybe you figure it out later what it is. But in this moment, everything happened so seamlessly with me getting the job and then getting my top choice for places here and everything. Like, even from the fact that I needed a TV stand. And as I'm picking up stuff from my parents' place, someone is getting rid of their TV stand. It's literally the guy is about to throw it in the garbage. And I get that. And then I needed bar stools. And as I'm moving out of my condo, someone is also moving out of their condo and they had a pile that they're going to throw out. And in that pile were two beautiful bar stools. So it's like all these things with this Ottawa move and the job just happen so seamlessly and so naturally that I know that it's meant to be. And that feels really good. I feel really happy in my life right now. And I'm just really glad. I'm just glad that everything has worked out and that I have great friends like you in my life to support me. And you've always been supportive and pushing for me to get my own place and to pursue my dreams. And
Hell yeah.
I'm working back in TV, which is, what I was focused on. And I switched into
So
communications
let's talk
because I
about
couldn't get
that.
a
Like,
full-time job in TV. And now I have a full-time job in TV, which
yeah, but
is
let's talk
awesome.
about your full-time job in TV. So, like, what does your day look like as a producer for such a massive network in the capital of the country?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a range of things. I'm going to be writing the news. I'm still training on this as we speak. But I'm writing the news daily. We have different news hits throughout the show. And so I'm writing the different news hits, picking stories for the lineup to put into the news, breaking stories. I can be writing picking the visuals for the stories, putting in the graphics for what's appearing on air, also booking guests that are talking to the hosts, preparing the hosts for, I mean, they're all super professional, but making sure that they feel prepared for the interviews with the guests. Yeah. Like producing overall, just helping with the production of the show and the behind the scenes and the writing and the booking the guests and the writing the news.
So, what I wanted to ask you was, were you nervous to start your new job? And before you answer this, I was actually thinking about this when you told me about the job and all of the big changes that were happening. It's like I've known Ryan through a lot of different jobs, school, obviously. You have never been nervous. You are so confident and sure of yourself, which, if any of our listeners don't know you, take that as such a positive thing. By no way do I mean cocky, arrogant, just thinks that his shit doesn't smell. Like, you know what you have to give and how hard you're going to work. I feel like because of that, you're never nervous. Okay, we get the whole like new job kind of like jittery bugs, but you
Yeah.
have never ever felt like, as far as I'm concerned, am I going to be good enough? Am I going to be able to meet the job description as much as they are hoping that I can? Because you work your ass off and you are so good at everything that you do that when I was like, oh, I wonder if he's nervous, I was like, he's probably not. He's probably going to walk in there like, I'm the new producer, watch me work.
No, okay. I do
And
get
I mean
nervous.
that in a good way. I don't mean it like you're over the top and like cocky. I just mean it that you know the work that you can produce, you know the work that you're going to put into it. And why should you be nervous? Because you're awesome and you're going to work your ass off. So, really,
Oh,
like, there's
well,
no reason to be like nervous.
well, first of all, literally, like tears are almost coming to my eyes because what you just said was so sweet and so nice, and that means a lot to me because I may not present myself as nervous because most situations I have to turn it on. Like I have to not be nervous because I'm in the situation. But I for sure still get nervous. I still get nervous before a job. I definitely go through those thoughts of, am I going to be good enough? Sorry. I definitely go through those thoughts of, am I going to be good enough? What if I mess up? And then, I lose the job. Like I 100% go through that. Maybe I don't always present it. And I could see that why you think that I'm not nervous because I just have to turn it on. And maybe it's a defense mechanism almost where I try not to show it, but I do get nervous. And there are pieces of me as I learn all the technical skills that I'm learning for this role. You remember iNews, Katie, from our days in journalism school. So there's a lot of iNews that's happening and putting in the lineups and writing scripts and all that. And there's some technical skills I have to learn. And obviously I'm nervous because I haven't done iNews in so long and I'm learning all these skills. But at the end of the day, you're right in the fact of I'm confident that they hired me for a reason. They believe I can do this job. I do believe that I can do this job. And I know that it's all going to work out. And as much as I'm nervous, and I always get this with new jobs where I'm like, oh my goodness, like, I'm just nervous that I'm going to mess up and things like that. As much as I get like that with new jobs, it always works out. A couple weeks in, you're like, okay, I can do this. Once you get over that hump of like, I can do this, and you learn the skills that you need to learn, then you're smooth sailing. So, I'm still in the
Absolutely.
beginner stages. I'm still learning a lot. And I will say that I do get nervous with like any kind of new job and new setting, but it's interesting. This Ottawa thing with moving and getting the place and getting the job, overall, I would say that I wasn't super nervous because it all felt so seamless. And I feel like I know you and I love talking about love and dating. And I feel like that's going to be how it's going to be
No.
with my man. No, it is. It's going to be with whoever my future husband is out there. Hello, if you're listening to this in the future. Hi, baby. Um, I know that that's how it's going to be. Everything with this move and this new job felt so seamless. It still feels so natural. Everyone is so nice. Everything is working out. I'm just going to throw a story out there real quick. The first day that I moved in, Katie, to this place, there was another guy who was moving his stuff in, and his name was also Ryan, and he also lived on the same floor as me, and he also was moving from another city, and so he was new to Ottawa, and we became friends. So already I made a new friend within an hour of moving in, maybe even less than an hour.
Really? That's awesome.
So I'm just saying that everything worked out. And I'm sure one day when I meet my future partner, everything is just going to happen seamlessly. But no, I do
No,
get nervous,
you know what?
Katie.
You are going to meet Mr. Forever Man out there in Ottawa because
Yeah.
we're not going to bring up the company that you worked for before COVID. They were great. What an awesome opportunity, but it was never like really what you truly wanted, although I know you had a great time. But you are a city boy and you needed to be in broadcast to some degree. You were doing the marketing for this awesome company, and I know that you were really happy, but you're now in a city. It may not be Toronto, but you're in a city and you're the
Yeah.
producer. Like, what the hell? Like, I feel like I'm gonna walk the red carpet as your date one day. Like,
Yes.
it's actually Ryan. Like, it's so exciting. Like,
That's
what you're
really
doing,
nice.
so exciting. Like, who would have thought? I mean, I would have thought everybody that knows you that this is the perfect job for you, but like, you're a freaking producer in Ottawa. Like,
Yeah.
what? That is
Yeah.
so incredible. You should be so proud. I know you come from like such a humble and amazing family. I know how proud they are of you.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful. Like, I can't picture a better situation for you at the moment, And you're going to meet
That's really
Mr.
nice.
Wonderful. I'm honest, I love you so much, you know that, but I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
I am so proud of
Katie, you're
you. You
giving me
go.
chills. No,
No,
legit
I
though,
mean,
like
like, we
you're
were
so
like
right.
but we were young kids during our post grad. I mean, we were little kids with like big
You
dreams.
were like 19, weren't you? And I was 22,
I was no, I wasn't
20.
no.
You were
I was, I
20.
think, 20 or 21. And,
You were young.
we're almost 30 now. Like, we were like
Oh my
young
God, don't
kids.
say that. Don't say that we're almost 30. Stop.
We are.
Oh my gosh, I don't feel
No, but
almost
really, like,
30. Is this adulthood?
we were young kids with big dreams. And you and I were very similar. Like, we're the life of the party. We can never shut up. We like to be friends with everybody, and we got along like right from the hop, and we supported each other in like our dreams and like what we wanted in the future. And we've always been there for each other despite any fights we've had. We've always had each other's backs. And now, like, one of my best friends is a producer for a massive network in Ottawa. Like, I could not be prouder.
Thank you so much, Katie. And I just want you to know that I'm very proud of you too. You set your eye on the prize as far as what you wanted. I know that you always wanted to find someone that you could live with and, be able to have that experience of, building a home in a way. I know you've done a lot of renovations with your boyfriend on your place and be surrounded by animals. And then that was the first goal that you accomplished. And I don't know if you look back and look at all the things that you've talked about and how you've been accomplishing it over the 2 years. Your next goal was to get more experience and take on a more leadership role and get more creativity. You started to do that at your parents' pub. And then your next thing was to get into a creative role, a new role. You loved working at the pub, you loved working with the people, but you were ready to step outside of hospitality and step into the creative world. And then you got this amazing job at a company that's producing tons of Canadian television and film content. And it's like right in your neck of the woods as far as you don't have to drive into Toronto. I know how much you don't like driving into Toronto. Look at all of the things that you've accomplished too. I am so proud of you. And I just think that the main thing that I would ever want for you is that you're happy. And I can tell that you're really happy at this point in your life. And I feel really happy at this point in my life. And I just want to say that I'm so proud of us.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too. And I'm so glad that we did this update episode too, because, I feel like the listeners have been invested in us and our story for so long. So I think it's only fair to update the listeners and let them know that we're both doing really well and that we're so thankful for them for
Yes.
listening and supporting us throughout this crazy journey of realizing what adulthood looks like. And I'm telling you, living in my
Oh my
own
God,
place,
is
I'm
this
really starting to
adulthood?
realize that this is adulthood.
Oh my God.
I just
Well,
need to find a man now, and then I will be like, and get married and have kids and have a golden retriever, and then I'll be like, this is adulthood.
oh my God. Well, I feel like this is kind of no, I will be back. I'm gonna get emotional. I feel like it's a little bit of my, like I said before, passing the torch. Um, without too long and too corny and without crying my eyes out.
Aw, stop.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I have had so much fun on this
Stop.
podcast. I can't thank you enough. And Taylor, if you listen to this one, which bitch, you should do your homework. Um, you're gonna have so much fun with Ryan. And by the way, if you meet up to record, he's gonna force you to go for lunch. He's gonna eat something fattening so he can eat something fattening. It's gonna be a
Stop.
fattening situation together. Um, but yeah, I have had such a great experience. And I mean, even just like meeting Yvonne, doing our logo, and even being at my apartment. Remember when you couldn't find parking that time? And all of those memories, I'll remember all of them. And you're going to do great things with this. And I love you. And thank you for such an incredible experience.
And this isn't goodbye forever. This is a see you soon. And this is like when the Real Housewives leave the show for a while and then they come on and they're like in
You're like,
guest
I'm not
spots.
Randy Glanville. Jesus.
No, I know. And then sometimes they even come back for a whole season. So, I mean, Katie Jones, the door's always open. You let me know once your schedule gets less busy and we will find a way to get you on. And because this is, our baby, and just like Sassy and Classy was our baby, and I'm thankful for you. And I think that, oh my gosh, you're going to make me cry now, Katie.
I
I
know
think
I'm
legit
emotional.
though. Legit, like I feel like at the moment that I started the podcast with you, I felt like it was a time in my life where I was really figuring out what was next. And I think when we first started talking about the podcast, I just decided that I was going to go back to school for public relations, and it was a big decision. And I was working in retail, and I'd stepped away from the creative for, probably 2 years at that point. And I just felt kind of maybe lost. And I felt like, I'm going into this new program, which is exciting. But before I was even in the program, because we started recording in like November 2018, I to have this outlet to meet with you as a best friend and talk to you and have all those chats before we recorded and after we recorded, and our drinks. We'd have a couple drinks and just have chat sessions and have Domino's pizza. I just want to thank you for that, because all those times meant so much to me. And I think that it added this whole other element um, to my life, and being able to do that with you and get creative again and edit. And, it's probably even helped me land my current job, because, they saw that I'd been producing and editing a podcast. I mean, I talked about it in the interview, and, then they could see all the different topics that we've covered. And so I just want to thank you, because you've been a part of this journey from the beginning. It's been our journey, and thank you to listeners for listening as well. But I just want you to know, Katie, that I always wanted to do something again with you. And I know we talked about it on Sassy and Classy and doing a podcast, and then we did it. And thank you for giving me this creative outlet,
Oh,
and
well,
for being there with me from the beginning.
honestly, like, again, thank you. Like I said, we met when we were young. And then I feel like when we started this podcast, we were obviously older, but really trying to figure out like the next stage. We built that education behind us, strong work ethic. And again, you went back to school like you were, but we were ready. And I mean, we started as Ryan and Katie, and now you live in Ottawa and have this amazing career. And I'm going on 2 years in an amazing relationship and a new career. Like, we've done a lot of growing up together.
Yep.
So for that, I thank you. I love you. And Taylor, you better kick some ass or I'm going to kick you out.
No.
Just
Aw.
kidding. I'm so supportive of it. Yeah, I love you, Ryan. And
I love
thanks.
you too.
Thank you for this opportunity. And I know that you're going to take our podcast in many beautiful directions. And I'll be back.
Exactly. And where can the listeners find you on social media?
01 Katie Jones on Twitter and KTEE Jones on Instagram.
Amazing.
And just type in the prettiest bitch on Facebook and my face.
Of course. And my Instagram is at Ryan Durgy, RYANDURGY, and my Twitter is the same. And then the podcast Instagram is at Is This Adulthood? And the podcast Twitter is at ITA_podcast. I don't know why Katie I don't know if she's laughing right now, but she always used to laugh at the Twitter username. I don't know why.
Oh my God. I will forever laugh at that. But listeners, it's been a blast. I thank you all so much. And now it's Ryan and Taylor's job. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a glass of wine in my honor.
You're acting like you're dying.
I'm dying.
No, you're acting like we need to mourn you and have a glass, like, cheers to you. Like, as if you're dying. You're not dying.
I feel like I'm dying, Ryan.
Wait, why do you think that you're dying?
No, I don't actually feel like I'm dying, but like, I actually genuinely am like emotional over this.
I'm emotional too. Why don't you just change your decision right now?
No, you.
No. Why? Yeah, Katie. Why don't you change your decision? All of a sudden, the tears get wiped from your eyes. You're like, no. You and Taylor are good.
You're such a piece of shit.
I love you.
I love you too, you psychopath.
Bye.